I'm gonna tell you a story I've never even told John.
Let me hear how you feel about the hire of Mark Pope as the new coach at Kentucky. Welcome to Point Game with John Wall and C.J. Toledano, presented by DraftKings. Don't forget, DraftKings is your home for all the action across the NBA and gets you closer to the game we all love. The crown is yours. Just get some business out the way. Coming up on today's episode, NBA legend, 3-time Sixth Man of the Year, Jamal Crawford will be joining the show. But listen, we got John Wall here, the man, the myth, the legend, and as usual, we're going to open up on some Kentucky news because they have made their hire. First of all, John, how you feeling, man?
I feel great, man. I just came back from working out and physical therapy, so I'm good. I'm just relaxing, chilling.
Okay, so the major development, Kentucky has made the hire. I feel like it was a little bit of surprise, and people are feeling good about it. So let me hear how you feel about the hire of Mark Pope as the new coach at Kentucky.
I think it's a surprise. I mean, I don't think he was probably one of their top choices. I know they went after Billy Donovan, Scott Drew, and Dan Hurley. I think those are their main ones, and I think Bruce Pearl is one of the ones on the radar. I don't know too much about him, so I can't really speak on it. But from the press conference, like everybody was super excited, and I know he kind of probably got a lot of love because he was on a championship team there in '96. I think 94, '96. I think he played there, and I see he brought like Tony Delk, Derek Anderson, those guys out with him. So I think that was dope. He came out with the trophy. So I think him having like history there, of playing there, and then winning a championship there, and a lot of people having respect for him. I think that was dope. But I really don't know too much about him. But everybody seemed like they're excited, and now it's about building a team now. You know what I mean? Because a lot of guys are decommitting, and a lot of guys are in the portal. So got to figure out how to build a team and build it with the guys that he wants. You know what I mean? That's always the toughest part about a lot of coaches. From what I've seen from playing in college and just watching the game a lot is a lot of kids would transfer, try to get out there because that's not the same coach that recruited them or the coach they wanted to play for. Or if you're a coach that take over and then there's a player there that you didn't recruit, you kind of like got to finish that out if the guy don't want to end the portal and figure out how to make things happen. So whenever you build your foundation of the guys that you want, the type of character players that you want on your roster, then you'll kind of see what type of guy he is and what he can do with the program.
Yeah. Like, do you think, how important do you think it is and how much do you think it means to recruiting that he was a winning player, with Kentucky? Like, what are some of the things he's going to use to try to pull in some big players to the program?
I really don't know. I think, just saying that you coach at the University of Kentucky, that's going to bring people there anyway, because it's a powerhouse school, Like I told before, Coach Cal came there and took it to another level that it has never seen, but they always had great players there. They always had great coaches. And it's a tradition of one of the best basketball schools of all time, if not the best. So I don't think that's going to change. It's just now what players and character type of guys do you want there? With Cal era, he was getting a lot of one-and-done guys, a lot of guys that was top 5 in their class or top 10, and they was going high in the draft picks. Now you got to see what type of trend this coach is, Mark Pope, going to go through. So it might be totally different in Cal. You might have guys that stay 2, 3, 4 years from what it was totally different from the way that Cal did it. So I really don't know because I didn't watch BYU too much, and I don't know like how he recruited and how those guys played and stayed in. But you just sit back and watch and see.
Yeah, talk about, because on a previous episode you're saying you'll forever support Coach Cal, he changed your life, but you're also forever Big Blue Nation. So how do you stay involved with that program with a coach that you don't necessarily have a direct connection to, but you're both Kentucky legends?
I think just talking to the guys around, just figuring out what players they get, try to have a relationship with those guys. I'm being so cool with the equipment manager guys and talking to those guys a lot, talking to the athletic director. It's going to be different for me, though, because, I talked to a lot of Cal assistants, a lot of people that was in the office that I knew and had personal relationships with because I played for them and was around them for a year. So it's going to be different for me, but I think, the same love I've always got, I don't think that will ever change. Now it's just trying to build a relationship with the new coach if he's willing for that. I don't know how that goes, but I'm gonna do everything I can to try to support and go to games as much as I can. And at the same time, I'm gonna support Cal. That's a guy that came to my house, met my mom, won my mom over to give me the opportunity to leave the state of North Carolina. And she had all the trust in him that I trust my son to go play with you. And like I said, he gave me the opportunity to play for a powerful school in Kentucky. But just like if he was at Memphis, I would have went to Memphis. You know what I mean? Like it was playing for the coach, but also respecting the university I played for at the same time. You know what I mean? So I never would doubt that of what changed, but Cal gave me the opportunity. And I forever cherish that. So I'm always going to support him no matter what and where he goes. And now it's about what team he can build and what team can Mark Pope build.
Okay, John, I want to move on to the NBA because the last regular season games were yesterday and the play-in is now set. Tell me, I want to know about your general thoughts on the play-in. You know, these teams, they got to go through a little mini tournament here to get into the playoffs. So what are your feelings for these next few days as the play-in is set and we're going to see who's going to make the playoffs?
For me, I never really liked it to play in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think the best 16 teams should get in. So if you're a top 8 team, you get in. That's how I feel. I mean, that's how I was when I first came in and was playing. But I know the NBA is trying new things and expanding it. So now you give those teams that's between 7 and 10 to fight for a spot. You know what I mean? 7 and 8, you get a chance to lose twice. 9, 10, you get to lose once. So you kind of set your stone. You know what I mean? If you win a 7-8 game, you're a 7 seed. If you lose that game, you get a chance to play the winner of 9-10 to be the 8th seed. I think it's interesting. You got some great matchups. You know, basically the teams that just played each other. Basically, you know what I mean, kind of. I mean, you got the Lakers in New Orleans playing again, and I think it was a little different for New Orleans. You know what I mean, having Brandon Ingram come back from injury and then try to put him into the rotation and try to build that chemistry back. You know what I mean, because they was playing well. You know, that's always something you have to deal with when a guy's come back from injury, and especially how good is Brandon Ingram is. He's probably, if not their best player, the second best player between Zion. You know what I mean, he can go either way between them, and then CJ's been on the heater. Trey Murphy's been playing well. We know how great Herb Jones has been for them this year. So I think they got punched in the mouth. But if you watched the last game yesterday, a lot of teams that you needed to win, like the Pelicans, they got punched in the mouth first quarter. You know what I mean? You look at the Timberwolves playing the Suns, they got punched in the mouth first quarter. You know what I mean? The Suns came out, they wanted to get a 6 seed, not be in a play-in game. And all you can do at the end of the day is control your own destiny. The Suns came out early, controlled that, and then they didn't have to worry about if the Pelicans won or lost. They did their job. Now it's up to the Pelicans to win or lose. So they feel comfortable about that. I think they feel a lot more excited that they don't have to play 1 or 2 games to try to get into a playoff spot. You got your spot solidified in. You got the Timberwolves for 7 games. So I think that's going to be interesting. It's just funny because whoever gets the 7th seed, you have to play Denver first round. So that's going to be a tough matchup. So, and the same is on the other side. I feel like, you know what I mean, if you get the 7th seed, you got the Knicks in the first round. Round. You know what I mean? If you get the 8th seed, you got Boston in the first round. You know what I mean? You get the 8th seed on the West, you have OKC in the first round. And a lot of people are kind of doubting them because they say they don't have the playoff experience. But I think just the way those guys have been playing well, Shea has been a hell of a leader for those guys. And all guys just rounding around him and winning. That's tough for him to finish number 1 in the West when a lot of people call him the youngest team in the league, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't expect him to even be in the playoffs or even be in the play-in. Right. To be what they are. That's a testimony to their coach and their coaching staff doing a hell of a job, their front office for sure, and then Shea being the head of the snake for those guys. Yeah,
I like what you said, though, about, you know, the best 16 teams to make the playoffs, but what's been interesting about the play-in for me as a fan just watching it is trying to figure out the strategy. Like, there's some real seeding strategy. Like, so yesterday with the last regular season game, with a lot of teams, I feel like in the past, they'd be like, we're already in the playoffs, like, you know, we're going to rest some guys. But, like, you had the Knicks facing the Bulls, and if they had lost, they would have got the 3 seed and would have played, you know, the inexperienced Pacers. But now they're the 2 seed, and they could potentially, and what maybe it looks like, you know, with Embiid back, that they're going to get the Sixers. So I guess put yourself in the shoes. If you were on the Knicks yesterday, would you have gone out and tried to win that game, or would you have been like, no, let's lose so we can, you know, get the 3 seed and play the inexperienced Pacers?
Well, for me, I don't even think about it like that. You know what I mean? Like, I look at it. I don't respect a lot of – if teams or players move like that, I don't respect it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you want to play the best of the best. At the end of the day, you got to go through everybody to get to where you want to get to, and that's the top of the food chain. I never got the opportunity to get to the East Conference Final or the top of the food chain. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to – you just want to play. You know what I mean? Just happy to be in the playoffs. And I think the way you treat the game, the way the game will treat you back. And I think the way the Knicks went out about it, they seen the Cavs loss and they seen Milwaukee loss. Mm-hmm. So they could have lost that game and stayed in third and be like, okay, we could take the easier route. But, you know what I mean, last home game of the season, you know, your fans are there. You want to go in there playing well. And I respect them for going out there and competing. And they got the number 2 seed. Okay, who we see. That's just a testimony of how Tibbs is. That testimony of how special Jalen Brunson have been this year. And they feel like no matter who we match up against, we might have the best player on the floor in every series. You know what I mean? If you can say that in a lot of series, it's like, okay, we'll take on any matchup we got. That's how they feel. You know what I mean? And if you can feel like you got the best player or the second best player, every time you step on that court, it's like, you give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? The way he's been playing this year and the stretch he was on his last month has been spectacular. But I like the way they went out there and competed. We want the second seed. Like, if it's Philly or Miami, we want the second seed. And I respect it.
Yeah, it was going to be my follow-up question with the same thing, but I think you kind of answered it there with the Lakers. You know, if they win their one play-in game and get in the playoffs, they face the Nuggets. And people are saying, like, no, they should lose. And then they get that, you know, the 7 or the 8th seed or whatever and play OKC. And it's like, if you're ducking smoke this early, like, how confident can you be for the remainder of the playoffs? Or so I just, you know, also too, if the Lakers purposely lose, you know, the first playing game, they're gonna have to face the Warriors or the Kings, where, you know, they didn't win all those games. It's not a for sure. So I like what you said. You just got to go out there and compete and win.
Well, yeah, if you do that, but then also look at this though. If you take the 1-8, right? Let's say if they lose on purpose, play and win the 8th seed, you got the Clippers or the Clippers or the Mavs second round.
Yeah.
I mean, don't they play 4-5? 1-8 play 4-5, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you talking about? So if you go beat the Nuggets, you still got Minnesota or the Suns.
Right.
So I feel like no matter what, you're going to have a tough matchup regardless. Like, you know what I mean? I think all 10 teams in the play-in on the Western Conference all finish like above 500 or like 10 games above 500 if I'm not mistaken, like 10 or 12 games above 500. I don't think that's been done in a long time. So you're going to have to play whoever. I mean, like, you play whoever. It doesn't matter. It's a game of basketball. I mean, the regular season, you know what I mean? Everybody look at what the matchups was in regular season, who won the most games. That's cool, handy, and dandy. But now you got to go beat them 4 times out of 7. So now it's real game planning. A lot of teams, if I was a coach, I wouldn't show you my strategy of what I would do in the playoffs if I got to play in the regular season. So a lot of coaches don't show you the schemes they might use in the playoffs if they got to see you. They just play regular coverages in the regular season. If you kill, you kill. Go ahead. Congratulations. You got the win. But now when it matters most, who gets the most wins? That's all that matters. I mean, it doesn't matter what the series was in the regular season. So I feel like ducking no smoke is no need for that. Just go play basketball, you know what I mean, at the highest level. At some point in time, you got to play this, you got to play that. Like, I don't think no situation is an easy route. You know what I mean? It's the playoffs. Like, these teams are legit. They're here for a reason. They can play at the highest level. They have a superstar or a star or a big-time star on their team that's either an all-star or all-NBA guy. So you got to see it no matter what round you're in. So just go out there and compete and see what happens.
Love it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. Okay. One more thing I wanted to bring up, because I was watching LeBron, speaking of Lakers, I was watching LeBron and JJ's new pod, Mind the Game, and the clip that was sort of clipped out and went viral, I don't know if you've seen it, that Gortat screen they were talking about. So obviously you were one of the guys who benefited quite a bit from that Gortat screen. So they were explaining how it works, and it looks like an almost a near unstoppable play. So give us some background on that. People are calling the Gortat screen, but, you know, the way you were using it, too, we were getting buckets. So give us a little bit of background that we weren't seeing in that Mind the Game episode.
Shout out to Gortat screen. But I've watched Russ do it with Kendrick Perkins a lot.
Yeah, okay.
And when I got Gortat, I was like, bro, we can start using this.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, it's different now because they switch pick and rolls now. But, like, back then, they used to ice on the side. So I would tell Gortat, it's a signal thing though. Like I just do a hand signal, like I would do a hand signal and he would know, don't come. Like I got a lot of dunks on that play, like it's spectacular, big time dunks. But it was just like we would run ice for a couple of times. Like we run pick and roll, like angle pick and roll, and they call ice, and we'll see how they guarding it. If they down to me and they jump to the side real quick, I'd be like, all right, bet I'm gonna go just run the play a couple of times. Then if it's a big moment, we needed a bucket, or I just want to get a highlight, I'd be like, all right. You know, this is time for the screen. And the guard automatically jumped to ice thinking the big's there. And if Gortat hit the screen, I'm just got a straight line drive to the basket and it's meet me at the rim. 9 times out of 10, I'm loving my chances to meet somebody at the rim. So it was perfect. But like, Gortat did it and we made a lot of spectacular plays off of him and then scored a lot off of it, did a lot of great things. Like, shout out to him. He set a lot of heck of a screens for our team throughout my time I played with him and made the job easy for me. That's why I was able to average 10, 11, 12 assists. You know what I mean? A lot of times throwing past to them, he's a hell of a finisher. Like he might not, they call him Polish Hammer. He'll dunk on you sometimes, but he had a lot of finesse and finish around the rim. So shout out to Gortat. And but I first seen Kendrick Perkins do it with Russ, and I was like, damn, like if I get a center that can screen like that, hopefully I can make it work. And we made it spectacular.
All right, so you may officially be saying that should be called the Perkins screen.
I'm not giving the credit. They call it a Gortat screen, so I'm giving Gortat the credit. But I'm just saying where I learned it from, and I wanted to teach Gortat that, you know what I mean? So, like, the same thing is he played with Steve Nash, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, how was it playing pick and roll with Steve Nash? Like, which angle did you set screens at? Like, how do you do this? How you do that? So that's what made the pick and roll so spectacular for us, because he learned so much from playing with Steve Nash that I can pass the ball as well and score as well, that he taught me things that I can learn, you know what I mean? So vice versa, we both taught each other certain things, and I can make some of my spectacular plays because he had great hands. He could finish around the basket. That's why I was able to be great in pick and roll, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So shout out to him.
Gortat, come on the show. I love that. That was some of the most fun basketball that I've seen. And like you said on previous episodes, like I think Gortat was.
I was just talking to him the other day.
Yeah, I feel, is the stat right? He was the most player you've ever assisted to in your career.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
it got to be him or Brad for sure.
Yeah. All right, maybe we'll see on the show him on the show next. All right, we're gonna take a break here. When we come back from break on Point Game with John Wall and C.J. Toledano, presented by DraftKings, we're gonna be joined by the legend Jamal Crawford. So you don't want to miss that. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Point Game with John Wall and C.J. Toledano, presented by DraftKings. We are so excited to bring on our guest here for this episode. We're now joined by three-time NBA Sixth Man of the Year, elite bucket getter. You see him on TNT, the man with some of the best handles in NBA history. Let's please welcome Jamal Crawford to Point Game. Jamal, what up, man?
What up, y'all? I appreciate y'all having me for sure.
I know your schedule's busy, so I did want to get caught up because – you know, we knew you from your playing career, and now you're killing the broadcasting game, and we were talking about it a little bit before. Can you just describe what your schedule has been like? Because you said the grind hasn't really stopped.
So let me go back. So on March 25th, I left home. It was Seattle to Atlanta, Atlanta to Chicago, Chicago back to Atlanta, Atlanta to Phoenix, Phoenix to Atlanta, Atlanta to New York. It's coming up. New York back to Atlanta, Atlanta finally home. So it's a 3-week trip. As John knows, we don't do 3-week trips in the league. That's a long time to be away from home.
Nah, we might get 10 days at the most. I know your kids
like
where
10,
you at,
bro.
Your kids probably like, where you at?
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to ask you, Jamal, you had a 20-year career. Your highlights are still shared on social on a daily basis. And we mentioned before, 3-time Sixth Man of the Year. How come you were never an all-star? Like, how come they never, like, what was preventing you from being that?
The first time I thought I could have been an all-star was in New York. And at the time, I was averaging almost 21 and 5 assists. And for guys who were averaging that, I was one of only 3 who didn't make it. But they were like, you didn't have enough wins. So I'm like, I get it. I understand, right? And then the second time I thought I should have been an all-star was my first year at the Hawks. Here we are, third in the division. I'm the second leading scorer. I'm one of the top fourth quarter scorers in the league. I'm averaging 18 at the time. But they said, okay, well, you come off the bench. I'm like, well, damn, if I was starting doing the exact same thing, you see I'd be an all-star? So you want me to sacrifice, come off the bench? But yeah. I'm doing these numbers and not making it. And the exact same thing happened with the Clippers. And my teammates were all advocating for me, saying I should have been an all-star. I was top 5 in fourth quarter scoring again. But at that time, we were fighting, when they made the decision, we were fighting for first in the league. And that was the first time I remember, like, the TNT guys, I think Charles and C. Webb had me on their all-star team. You know, they do, like, the pre, like, who they thought was going to make it.
Yeah.
They had me on there. And so I'll tell you guys a story. The time with the Clippers, I remember me and Steph Curry were talking, like, a few days before they selected him. Like, who do you think's going to make it? He's like, well, it's either you or me. And we were both wrong, and David Lee made it that year. So it was just crazy how it all worked out. Shout out to D. Lee. It was crazy.
Yeah, and that's interesting you say that, because they said the same thing to me earlier when I felt like I should have made it my 4th year. They was like, you got to be a winning team.
Yeah.
But now you look at it, it's like, don't matter if you win it or not. Like, you could be last, you could be in the play-in. It doesn't matter. They just going by what the fans want to see now. So you should have definitely been one of those. But it's just interesting how things change over the years. You know what I mean? Because you've been in the league for so many years. They'll tell you, well, you're not winning enough or you're not starting. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm doing what starter's supposed to do. I'm taking a sacrifice for my team to be great.
And you guys, coaches, you guys still double team me every pick and roll when I come off the bench. You treat me like a starter, so
Yeah.
I don't get it. But it's just crazy because the thinking of that, and I had talked to, I believe it was Silver at that year with Steph, and I think I was going to be one of the injury replacements just in case somebody got hurt. And you know how it is, Jay Wall. There's one year in Dallas where they were pulling people. I think it was Tornado or something. They were pulling people from Dallas, like, y'all want to play? I think J Kidd played because he just happened to be in Dallas and
Mm-hmm.
made the All-Star game. So it's just that
Saving
one year
money.
nobody got hurt,
Saving
huh?
some money. Saving some money.
Yeah,
They ain't
saving
got to
some
book
money,
no
saving some
flights, no
money in travel.
hotels. It's
Exactly, saving
simple.
some money in travel. So for me, I just wanted to be at one time, and I didn't. If I was an All-Star just one time, bro, I promise you, I know I wouldn't go play a lot. I was gonna pull out a different move every time down the
Oh,
court. I was gonna maximize it. Y'all was gonna know I was out there.
But yeah, you
So
was the perfect guy to put into an All-Star game. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
yes,
you know how it
yes,
is, Rucker Park, anything like that. You are the
yes,
All-Star type of guy. And to be me being young and see you do the moves that we see on the street ball, you don't think you'll put in the NBA game. You know what I mean? You only
right.
had a couple guys that can do that and make it look like it's special and have a heck of a crowd of it. So you definitely should have been one. So you definitely get your flowers for sure.
I appreciate that, and then hearing it from you and guys like that on your level, that means the most. To be honest with you, because my peers, because they know that the All Stars, the Hall of Famers, those guys who did it at the highest level know what it looks like and what it feels like. So that means more to me than anything.
For sure. Well, morning, bro. Like I just want to
Good
thank you
morning.
thank you for taking your time out today to really appreciate you. And I want to jump right into it because yesterday you made a plea to help your fellow brother Nate Robinson out as he is in
Yes.
need of a kidney transplant. I just want you to share with our audience what you think can help him and see what we can do to make that push get out there.
Well, first off, I'm proud of Nate because he's been going dialysis 3 times a week for a couple of years, and he hasn't said anything to anybody as public and as loud. And I'm proud because we've been trying to get him to say that because there's people out there that will help that could be a match, but they didn't really know. You know what I'm saying? So, Nate has the heart of a lion. So for him to finally not break down, be vulnerable, and say something is gonna. I feel like it help him, but it can also help so many different people. Just like with you in your situation, for you to speak about what you spoke about, bro, that's going to help so many people because all it takes sometimes is that one moment to say, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do that. And it can change a life. It can change your life, but it can change others' lives as well. And you guys are inspirations. And for him to say that, I was so proud of him. And now, we're going to see, how the match process works because Nate, we need him around. We got to have him around. He
Yeah.
means so much. Like, you should see how he pours into the youth in Seattle. He treats every kid in the community like it's their kid, yelling at them, caring about them, loving on them, pouring into them. And so we need that. That inspires inspiration, but it inspires hope as well. So I'm glad he said something, and we're going to work to see how it works the process and try to give him a kidney.
Yeah, definitely. Hope we can help for sure, man. Because Nate's
sure.
a great person, great character, great father. Just like you said, doing things in the community, just being around him, knowing how he is as a person. He's always genuine, always uplifting people, laughing.
sure.
So any way we can help, and hopefully we can get that for him. Because like you said, we need him on this earth for a little bit longer. It's not his time to go yet.
Even you guys bringing it up and talking about it now is helping. So the more we talk about it, the more it only takes one. You know what I mean? It only takes one. So for us, hopefully we keep pushing that message out there and something good happens.
I feel like people forget about Nate, and even like we talk about your highlights, Jamal, too. Like Nate was another guy. I was living in Chicago when D Rose, was going through injuries, and Nate,
right?
They had signed Nate, and he got us in the postseason. Like got us in the playoffs, beat the Nets that series. Go back and watch that.
Yeah,
that was incredible. That mentally that saved me because I was so depressed about watching this Bulls team come up short. But then Nate, man, he stepped up.
Nate, I've never seen anything like Nate, especially from where I'm from. So, basketball state player of the year, football state player of the year the same year. Until recently, owned the record in the hurdles. Like Nate, and he can dance like he can play basketball. Like Nate, what can't you do, dog? Like he can literally do everything.
His son's playing at Colorado too for Dion. So like,
he is.
It's crazy.
And his younger son and daughter are doing well right now, playing high school basketball. Where his daughter's in 8th grade, going to high school next year, and his son Nael is really, really good. One of the best point guards in the state in Washington. Plays at our old high school.
Dope. I want to go to I want to talk about the Seattle Brotherhood and just Seattle basketball, but I do want to just to bring things back a little bit because it's crazy to me as a basketball fan. I get to sit with you and John right now. You guys, two of the most electric NBA players. Your handles, the move packages. So I wanted to know, Jamal, because John came on the scene or came in the NBA. About I think like 9 years later. What was the first time you saw John? When did he get on your radar, and what was your reaction?
I'm going to tell you a story I've never even told John. So John goes to, look at his smile. John goes to Reebok camp, right? and everybody there has a team, but we're not actually there. The guys that were Reebok, I think AI had a team. I think at the time, or maybe Darius Miles had a team, and I had a team. And from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, John was like, I'm on Jamal Crawford's team. And like whatever little, team they assigned us to, even though we weren't there. And he was like, man, he likes your game. I'm like, what? So I first saw him in high school, obviously, because my young guy, Abdul Gaddy, was ranked right behind him from the point guard. So I was hip to John a long time ago. And the thing about John is there's players that are great, there's players that are good, and there's players that are electric. He was like everything rolled into one. When he had the ball, you had to watch him. When he's in the court, you had to watch him. He had the smooth look, as he still does. He was the babyface assassin, but he'd kill you. And he had so much heart. He would guard, and he could do everything on the court. And I remember playing against him when he first came in the league, and I was at the time, I believe I was with the Hawks. And I'm like, damn. And I'm like you said, I'm 19 years in the league, and I'm still like, that's Jay Wall right there. Like, I knew he was one of the next ones. And people got to really look back and see, like, this dude was the wave. Like, this is the dude, how we look at Ant-Man, how we look at Ja, how we look at all those young guards coming in the game, that was Jay Wall. And even the vets was taking notes, like, oh, this is the dude right here, because he was so competitive. With all the talent and all the skill, he was a winner. Like, he was a winner. Dude could just will you to win. And to watch him and watch how he progressed, like, I just love his game. I love who he is as a person even more. I'll tell you a story about him as well off the court. He was one of the first stars we had coming pro-am before we moved and made it popular to come to pro-am. This dude came in the hood by himself on a drop of a hat. He's always been there. So when he told me, like, I need you on the show, like, bro, are you serious? All the stuff you've done for me in the past that nobody knows about. And lastly, I think he came to my house, him and Isaiah Thomas, and they was on jet skis. I think that was one of the first times he was ever on jet skis. So it was dope to watch his whole progression and watch him go be this worldwide star and watch his love for the game and watch his passion. I still admire him, even though he's younger.
Yeah, and that's dope, bro, because I appreciate that coming from you. Because, like, I tell a lot of people, Jamal was, like, my favorite player outside of Allen Iverson. Like, handles, do all that. Like, that was exciting to me because I was only, like, 5'8" in 10th grade. Like, I wasn't tall. I grew after my 10th grade year. And I was going to tell that same story because it was the lockout year. Yeah. After my rookie year's lockout year, and Jamal was like, yo, you want to come down? I'm like, hell yeah, we just hooping. I remember it's me, you, it's Nate, it's Isaiah, it's Tony Roten.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the richest lakes you stayed on. I was happy as hell just to be out there. I was at his crib, we playing video games, and we just jet skiing through the lake. And I'm like, damn, bro, like, I'm really at Jamal Crawford house. I'm really hanging with an NBA star at the time. For me, I was just trying to get my name known in this, and to get the respect from my peers was, like you said, that's the most utmost respect out of anything. Like, a lot of people look back and see what I did, but to hear from guys that I looked up to, that's all you can ever ask for.
Yeah, and it's the truth. Like, you absolutely were the wave. You took it to a whole nother level. Like, the guards that came after you were looking to you. Like, you're the dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it's supposed to go. Like you said, I looked up to Iverson. So it went from Iverson to, like, Baron Davis and Steve Francis to me. To then you got D-Rose. Like, it's a lineage. You know what I'm saying? To you. And then here comes, Ja and all these guys. Like, that's how it works. And that's how it goes. It's like, I always looked at it like, you know what? Like, I heard from Denzel. If we're on a relay team, I hand you the baton. Now it's your turn. Now you run your race. Now you hand to the next one. And that's how we live forever. It's the legacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I sponsor 3 AAU teams, right? And I have to agree with you on some of your comments, issues that make AAU circuit difficult. I drop in on my team as much as I can. There are teams where the parents are ripping out coaches. And I'm like, this is not cool. So then they tell you a story. I think I had a family that wanted me to pay their son to play for my team.
Wow. See, I ain't got that far in it yet. Like, this is my third year coaching. I'm coaching my son. I'm coaching so many other dope kids in the city. And I just want them to stand on principle, stand on morals, and stand on, we can't coach them where they are. We're trying to coach them where they're trying to go. And they have a cheat code, because even my coaching staff with Coach Keith Smith and Rel Hennings both played D1. I think we're one of the only staffs where all three coaches play Division I basketball. So we know how to help your kid get there. And so that part of it where the parents can get in the way, bro, it's like, if my mom, the one thing I take pride in is my parents never, ever, ever told a coach, oh, you should be doing this or he should be doing that. And that was just like local coaching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wear that with pride now, looking back and being in this space, because it's like the parents can get in the way sometimes. We all want the best for your kid. Like, we're sacrificing time, money, energy, But if a parent was like, yo, I need you to pay him, like, first off, y'all really ain't trying to chase this for real because you have a cheat code with me being John Wall, and I'm good. I don't need the wins and losses that way. My wins is getting these kids from point A to point C, and hopefully
Yes.
they can go further than that.
That's why I said, I was like, I had to tell the parent, I'm like, your kid not as good as I was at this age. And I didn't get a
No,
dollar. Like, I just played because I love to play the game.
I love to
Yeah.
play.
And it's like,
That's it,
we don't get paid to coach these kids. Like, we don't get paid to have a
bro.
program.
It
Like,
costs us to coach.
that's
I
what I'm
promise you.
saying. That's what I was trying to explain to
It costs me
people.
probably 100,000 a year, and not that it has to, because this is out of my own pocket because I want them to have experiences. Me and my
Yes.
wife get team vans everywhere we go around the country. We get the same hotels everywhere we go around the country. We fly people with the team, not like guest players, nothing where they need to go. Everywhere we go on the road, we rent out at least one place. It could be a Dave and Buster's. Bring your mom, sister, family, whoever comes, free for everybody. So we do this all over the country the whole
That's
time.
dope.
You know what I'm saying? We're renting out suites to NBA games. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to get them totally different. Bro, we done FaceTime with J. Cole. Like, we're trying to get them totally different experiences. We watch film. We're doing everything the college and pros do. We got schedules on the road because we want them to get that experience. We want them to see what it's really like when you get beyond high school. And, you know, that's what you're really chasing.
And I enjoy that you say that because I was watching Rondo and All the Smoke. And he broke down like they have a routine, they have a schedule, they watching
Yeah,
film, we taking phones. It's no going straight to social media after the games, you know, because that's what a lot of kids want to look to. You know what I mean? Now you do
sure.
everything is what's my highlight? Like, what did I do
Yeah,
in this
it
game?
ain't wins and losses
Yeah.
like when you came in,
No,
man. See
no,
my
no,
highlights first, bro.
no. So I'm glad to speak on that and see how it is because, like I was saying before, like it's just so different with AAU now because it's all about what circuit you on. Like when I played, it was no Nike. You wore Nike or you wear Reebok or you wore Adidas, but we played in every tournament.
Everything.
We didn't care.
Right.
Like you couldn't if you was the best player at this position. I'm playing this guy here. Like I remember my first time going to Cactus Classic. I'm playing Abdul Gotti and Avery Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
And this when I first realized who Avery was. I knew who Abdul was, but I didn't know who Avery was. But it's just so different that these kids want money and what shoe deal you with. If you don't got a shoe deal, they don't want to play for you.
It's crazy because I always looked at it like, you know what? I'm not saying we should all, you know, not try to take advantage of certain situations or try to win in certain situations. But are we playing the long game or are we playing for like a dollar right now? Like if you can get this information, because that's the most important thing, the information. If you can get the information and then go apply it, that's life changing. That right there is going to better your chance and make you way more money in the long run if you listen to it and go apply it than chasing this quick dollar. Oh man, I got a bag for 500. I got a bag for 1,500 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you do that, you're gonna always sell yourself short. It's just what it is. It's the
Fact.
truth,
Yeah.
the fact of that. Versus, let me keep doing what I'm doing. Oh, he gave me that. Del Christie changed my life. Gary Payton changed my life. Oh, they did that. Okay, so this is how pros work out. Del Christie's the first one I seen even using a handheld foam roll. I'm like, okay, he's practicing with ankle weights on. Okay, being on time, you at the gym 30 minutes before. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at all these small nuggets. I didn't want his phone number. So now, fast forward, we got kids saying, nah, forget your phone number. Yeah, I know you, Jay Wall or Jamal or whoever. I need a bag, bro. Like, what? That's crazy. And the parents to allow that.
Yeah,
It's just baffling to me.
it's skipping ask for a follow on Instagram. I need some money. Or what
Yeah, I
shoe
need some
deal
money.
you signing with?
Oh, my goodness. Crazy, bro.
Jamal, you've talked about Doug Christie kind of helping you out in your career. What's the backstory on that?
So when I came back to Seattle, so I'm from Seattle. I moved to LA from 13 to 16 to stay with my dad and my grandmother, his mom. Then when I came back to Seattle, that was like my mixtape circuit. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for every gym. Like I'm back. I left at 5'9". I come back at 6'4". I'm trying to, because it's before social media. Where's the best players at? I'm trying to get my name back that I'm back in town, right?
Yeah.
And so my name started getting so loud that I started going to, I played in his pro-am. And I played in his pro-am based on my high school coach. He knew him. He coached. He was assistant coach at the time, same high school. And I played his pro-am, which is now mine. And one of my first 4 games, I think I had 8 points combined. They pushing me. Is the physical error. There's pro-am dudes. I'm playing against Damon Stoudemire, Sean Kemp. But Doug really took me under his wing. And he's like, yo, you can work out with me. I'm like, cool. So if we're supposed to be at the gym at 7, I'm there at 6 waiting for him. I didn't call the bus. He don't know all this. Whatever it took. I didn't have his phone number. So how we made the date or planned the next date was from the gym. All right, I'll be here Wednesday at 7 o'clock. I'll be there Wednesday at 6 waiting for him. He knew I was serious. I never asked him for $1. I'm like, yo, just show me how to be a pro. Okay, you got to be in the best shape. Okay, you got to take care of yourself. Oh, pros are doing this. Okay, pros are doing that. They're getting their shots up. So I'm learning all this and I'm watching him. And for me, him saying, yo, if you do these things, you can make it. Man, that was all I needed. It changed my life. So I'm like, that's my goal. I never played to like, I wasn't trying to change my life. Like, I wasn't trying to be like, oh, I need to be rich. Or I need to be famous. I wanted to play against the best. Like, I was the kid like, yo, I'll play the NBA to play in the NBA. I ain't tripping. I just want to be against the best. And so for me, that's what I was always chasing. And so with that, when I got that pro in my life, man, that changed everything for me. So shout out to him. He's always going to be the big bro.
I want to go back because you grew up in Seattle, and I think in the '90s, if I'm not mistaken, you were actually working at the Sonics
Yeah.
Arena, and we obviously know Sean Kemp, Gary Payton era. What do you have any interesting stories of working in the arena? Did you have any brushes with other NBA players during
I
that time?
remember at the time, one of the first days I worked, they were about to either play Minnesota or Minnesota had practice in the arena. So I remember Anthony Peeler was one of the guys I played against in Pro-Am maybe a year or two before. And so, now I'm crazy now looking back because, John, we've been in arenas before, shoot around, and you can see somebody working there. He may say your name. You looking way up there like, I don't know, dude. You know what I'm saying? So he probably looked at me as a kid. He didn't know I was the same kid that played against me the year before, but I'm working the arena. And I used to always bring up the food from the basement. So I would bring up the popcorn, the cotton candy, the peanuts, whatever from the basement and take them to concession stands during games. So that's supposed to be like a 5-10 minute trip. But after I would, make my trip, I would go to one of them aisles and they weren't going to tell me to move. I'm just looking on the court dreaming and looking at Gary Payton and looking at Sean. I'm like, damn, I'm so close to it. Like it inspired me to keep working. And so that 10-minute trip would turn to a 30-minute trip because I would just stare up there and just watch. Like, man, there go GP right on the court, right there. He's playing against Stephon Marbury right there. He's playing against Mahmoud right there. That's crazy. He's like playing against Nick Van Axel. These are heroes for me. So I was just so close to the action, it just made me want it. I'm watching the crowd react. I'm like, man, they're going to be reacting for me like that one day. They don't even know who I am right now. But one day, I'm going to be on that same court. You know what I'm saying? So it just inspired me to dream. And that was one of the best things. That's the first job I ever had. And that was one of the best things that happened to me because it made me push even more. I'm like, dang, they leaving, John, they leaving the court. Man, they're going to get their bands. Like, oh, that's dope. That's like, it just inspired me even more. So that was the main thing for me.
Yeah, that's fire there. Cause that's like Stackhouse had his pro-am back home. They used to play at St.
Yep.
Aug, so I used to go out there and watch, and I'm like, damn, they got nice cars, all that.
Yep.
Like I'm
Yeah,
not
you
used
see
to
it.
none of that. So that's give you another motivation. Not saying that's what we play it for. Like you can take all that away. I still gonna play the game, just how much I love it.
Yeah.
But just to see it and like get to see stars. I never get to go to NBA games. My time seeing NBA players was at the pro-am. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
hopefully they
Right.
come back and play at the pro-am. I get to see them. So it was always dope. When would you think Seattle get their NBA team back? Because I know everybody itching for that. Everybody's itching for that. And like I tell a lot of people, Seattle got a lot of hoopers.
A lot
A
of
lot of people don't understand how many hoopers really are from Seattle. Like if you really go back and do your search, I've been around Seattle a couple of times. I love being there, going there. I've been to IT weekend. Shout out to him also for signing for the rest of the year. I mean,
Yes,
that's
sir,
great
IT.
for him. But y'all got a lot of hoopers. So when do y'all think y'all can get y'all NBA team back?
Bro, when they left in 2008, I think 2008 was their last year, so they left 2009. I was like, oh, man. First off, I was one of the ones that was naive. Like, they ain't going nowhere. Seattle, how you going to take the team? 5 years, I'm like, okay, we'll be back in 5 years. Nothing. And so now I really think with expansion possibly happening and all that, I think we're right there. So I think this is the time I really believe it could be really soon. But to your point, we have so many hoopers. I'm going to tell you what's even crazier when you really think about it. We have so many hoopers, and most of the hoopers came after the Sonics left. So think about that. In North Carolina, you have Charlotte. In New Orleans, you have the Pelicans. You have all these people that you can kind of pull from. All Zion's right there. I see him on TV every day. That inspires me. We didn't have that for the last 16 years. So that shows you the importance of the pros we have in the community is actually there. You coming back to kick things off. Blake Griffin coming. Here comes Chris Paul. Here comes Kyrie. Here comes KD. All these guys coming to the pro-am and all these kids seeing it. Like now it's believable. We're not charging nobody. All your favorite players is right there in front of you. That gives you a whole different fuel. I remember maybe 4 years ago, it was Kyrie's last year in Boston, going to his last year in Boston. And he hit me up like, bro, I need to get in the gym. I need to get back right. So he came and stayed in Seattle for a month. And we worked out every day. I had a young Paolo Banchero in that run. Paolo was 15. By the end of it, Kai's like, yo, what college my man at? I'm like, nah, he's in high school, dog. He's 15. So imagine for Paolo, right, who I'm going to pick up every day, all this stuff, he's playing with Kyrie Irving, Zach LaVine, DeJounte Murray. He's in these pro runs that are secluded, nobody knows about. And he's like, man, I ain't the best player out here, but I ain't that far away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 15, this going to go fast. And those pros taking interest in him. Same thing happened with DeJounte Murray. He come play my pro-am the night I get married, the day before I get married, and he gets 40 in the pro. I'm playing, everybody's playing. That's like his introduction to everybody. Oh, he's for real. That gives you a whole different fuel. So to see these pros and those guys and Zach LaVine, all these guys still come back. There's a ninth grader right now can text Zach LaVine like, yo, can you break down some film with me? And he's going to respond. So that's what makes our community special. We don't have the crabs in the bucket mentality. We're all rooting for each other. If Nate has a bowling event, 10 of us are going. If I got a pro-am, everybody's coming. If IT's doing Zeke, we all there. And that's what makes it special. And that's why we get so many pros. And we get the Sonics back. Whenever that happens, we're going to get any more pros because we have that same fuel.
Yeah, that's dope.
Jamal, what kind of involvement or role would you want to play if the Sonics came back?
Man, whatever. To be honest with you, whatever. Whatever. Because I wear Seattle so proudly. Like I've been, no matter where I was, I've never left. And I think my feet were always firmly planted there. I played in Chicago with the Bulls. I'm in Michigan. I'm with New York Knicks. Whoever it was, my feet were always in Seattle. And that gave kids a different feel too. Like they could see me all summer long in the same community centers that they in, shooting around, working them out, whatever it is. So I wear that so proudly. Whatever role they wanted from me, I would absolutely, be interested.
That's dope. You were talking about you've been a coach for the last 3 years. I wanted to know, this is a 2-part question. Has a kid ever done a move and you're like, nah, like you can't, like done a crazy move, and then they're like, but you're Jamal Crawford. And then 2, the second part, has that ever happened to you when you're coming up where you did a move and a coach is like, no, you can't do that?
Yeah, so the first part, our team does moves all the time where it shocks me. And I'm still a fan, to be honest with you. So I'll be like, I'll call timeout just to tell them that was dope. Like, ooh, that was dope. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm that coach. And then it happens when people are playing against us as well. I'm like, ooh, that was tough. Like, I'm still a fan. And honestly, I'm still so connected to the kids. Yeah, I coach my team, and my team gets the best of everything. But these kids I play against, I follow them, DM them. Can you send me some dribbling drills? All the time? Because, bro, I want to see the sport get better. I want to see the sport continue to grow. But I want these kids to have a chance. And like we talked about earlier, the information is the most important thing. It's not like you just don't, you're on my team, you're the only ones getting this information. Like, no, I want to see everybody get the best chance to do what they want to do and live out their dream, because that's what I've done. And I feel like on this earth, honestly, I'm here. I finally figured out I'm here to be a service to people. Like, I'm here to be an absolute service. I've been blessed, man. I got to bless as many people as I can. Whether they play for me, they don't. Whether we never cross paths, they may hear a message. They may see something online. And that's my job here while I'm on earth. But the second part, like, what was the second part? I'm sorry. What did you ask the second part? I went off.
The second part was, have you ever done a move in practice and coming up?
Yeah. So, honestly, my first coach, Coach Bug, shout out to him. He's still in Seattle coaching right now. And I just asked him this maybe a year ago because I remembered it partly. And I remember I was 8 years old playing for him. We doing, Coach, 2-line layups. And everybody, kids are struggling to get up there. My first layup, I remember doing a jelly. Before y'all we called it jelly. I was doing a backwards like layup. And I said, Coach, I just asked him a year ago. I said, Coach, you remember my first layup is like a backward, like reverse layup? He said, yeah, but you're forgetting the part. And it came back to me and said, you went behind the back and then you did the backwards layup at 8 years old. And I was like, dang. He was like, but I never wanted to take that from you. He's like, because you weren't, the way you played, and my dad told me this too, I wasn't playing to like be a hot dog is what they used to call it. I just played. Like, I just got a ball and it felt like the ball just made me do these certain things. And I wasn't trying to do it. But my dad was like, if you're going to play like that, you better own it. So I just mastered my flow. I just mastered it because I'm like, I want to play the same way at LA Fitness as I do at the playground, as I do in front of 20,000. And I just mastered my flow. And I think the best can do that. I think the best players in the NBA can all make themselves play like they did in high school. I feel like high school was the most free. It was the most like dominant. It was the most everything when you were just one. Everything was aligned. And I feel like the best players in the NBA can do that. And they go through stretches of it before they may have to go to a role or whatever it might be. But they can do that at the highest level against the best players. And that's what makes it special.
Yeah, it just be a lot of that just be off instincts though. You know what I mean?
That's
like
it.
You ain't predetermining. Like I always tell people, I just play off instincts. Like my behind the back move, I never practice it. I just tried it when they was like, oh shit, this is dope. Like it's just all instincts, bro. You just play, it's free flowing. And like you said, you just find your rhythm, you find your dance move, you find your wave, and it's like if you stop it. I got to counter for it.
I got to counter for it. But see, you're articulating and breaking down things that people feel is complex in the easiest form, but it's to how you play. It's
Yeah.
exactly how you play. Like, we didn't know what you were going to do. Like, we really didn't. And that's what's crazy. And then when you get to behind the back, you would almost speed up as you did it to make people really like go for it. And it's just, for you, it's just natural. And that's why you're one of those ones that have that gift. You have the Quan, right? Like, you could do stuff that is extraordinary and make it look ordinary.
Yeah. So we gearing up for what we call the best basketball of the season, the playoffs. So of course we're gonna ask you, who are you excited to watch, and who do you want to see in a Game 7 series?
Man, I'm excited to watch Phoenix. And because they've been struggling so much, I've been saying for the longest they need a point guard. And not to take away from anybody else, but to add to what those guys do. And the thing about it is you have Katie, you got Book, you got Brad. And yeah, they can all handle the ball, but they all are sacrificing to some degree as well. If you had a point guard like, no, nah, y'all, Brad had hit 3 in a row. We going right there. And then y'all play off of that just to give organization. I feel like that's what they're kind of missing. So that's why I was really happy to see them sign Isaiah, because I know how he thinks the game. He's got to get the opportunity. But that's what they need to address. And it ain't got to be the guy who's starting. It could be the guy who comes off the bench and plays with those guys and organizes. And those 4-quarter leads they were giving up for a long time in the season, like, nah, y'all, we got to go right here and just give, like, be a conductor. You know what I'm saying? And put those guys, a guy they respect that can kind of put them like, all right, you know, John said this or Zeke said this, so let's roll with it. We respect him. So he's, you know, it's about the team. So I look forward to those guys in the playoffs, because I feel like they could be a tough out if they kind of get it together. Denver's going to be tough. You know, they're so connected, and now they know their style works. Before they were, you know, they were doing it like, damn, okay, we get playoff success, we wouldn't win it. Now they won it with that style. You know, so it's kind of tough. And Joker's working backwards. And he's one of the most dominant players who doesn't care about scoring. So that's the trick in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Scary.
Like, it's scary because he's playing, and I always say this, he's not just playing against the players, he's playing against the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, you do that, I'll counter with this. He's not even worried about the guy. He can't press him to do anything.
It's just crazy how he think. Like, he would dominate a game and shoot the ball 4 times.
Come on, bro. Who does that?
Like, you don't
and
have
then
a lot of superstars
they
do
feel
that.
like I'm being too selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, let me get these guys the ball. He's something totally different. So I'll look forward to them as well.
I think the
Jamal,
7-game series is going to be, I think it's going to go 7. I don't know, but now that they got it locked in, the Clippers versus the Mavs is going to be exciting. I think they locked it in, so I want to get my popcorn ready to watch that, because, you know, the history they have, like, I mean,
for sure.
Clippers haven't been healthy most of the time, but then Luka dominates them. Then they have their big 3. Then you have Luka and Kyrie that's figuring it out now.
See, they're playing now. They're not playing your turn, my turn. They're playing with flow, and they're cheering for each other. This is one of the first times. Obviously, Jalen Brunson was there as well, but I think even Luka has a different respect for Kai, because he loved Jalen Brunson. He knew Jalen Brunson was nice. He loved him. But Kai's doing stuff for Luka's in the game like, no, this is crazy. Like, he's experiencing.
They both are, bro. Yeah.
Exactly. This is the first time we've heard Luka say, shoot, he's the Batman, I'm the Robin. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you the respect that he has for them. So they're going to be a tough out. And I think Kyrie will be even better in the playoffs, because the game suits him. It slows down. And now all the things you think you know about somebody's mannerism, he doesn't have. He's like us. He don't have that pattern. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way to guard him like that. And he's that one mismatch. So that's going to be a fun. You're right. I'm getting my popcorn. See, I may go 7. You're absolutely right.
That's when I think might go 7. And I'm trying to sneak myself to one of the games, because I definitely have to see that in person.
Yeah. We may have to go see that one in person. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Jamal, I know you got to get out of here. We appreciate your time. I wanted to ask one more question. I knew I wanted to ask this ever since I was like, we got this podcast, because we talk about it a lot. King of the Court one-on-one tournament. If the NBA ever implements it. Now, everyone talks about who would win it now, but I want to know, if they had it back in your prime, do you think you could have took it all?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I could have took it all, but I think I would have shocked a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would have won it.
Who would have stopped you?
Man, you got Kobe. You got KD. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would almost have to do like weight classes, like in boxing. Oh, this is a 6'6" and under crew.
Lightweight, heavyweight, middleweight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that improves my chances, like 6'5" and under, that type of stuff. But Kobe, bro, people forget, and I'm glad some people are like, you know, speaking up for him, but people forget how dominant Kobe was. Like, he was so dominant, and he was so prepared, and he was fearless. He didn't care about failing. That's the thing that really separated him. And so any challenge, we knew he was going to take that challenge head on. It wasn't going to be no running. It wasn't going to be no hiding. It wasn't going to be no excuses. It was going to be because he did it or he didn't do it. He was going to figure out how to get it done. So I think Kobe and everybody in their prime, Kobe would win a one-on-one contest.
Yeah, because you got to think he's going to guard. He don't care about guarding.
He's going to guard. Exactly.
He's going to guard. Like, you see him in the Olympics, he's going to guard.
I'm not guarding like that, CJ.
And then on top of that, you can't stop him offensively. He's making tough shots. So
he's making tough shots.
That's the scary part. And then you're only playing 3 dribbles. A lot of guys don't have a lot of shit in 3 dribbles.
And he's mastered that in 3 dribbles. You know what I'm saying? But see, I ain't gonna guard like that. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna guard like that. Like I'm gonna put my hand up and fake contest. I am not guarding like a Kobe guard, bro.
Hey, Mo, I got one last question for you, Lee. So I'll be watching you on TNT, and I just got to ask, like, how is it working with Shaq, Candace, Parker, and the crew? Like, I see y'all be having fun, man.
We be having so much fun, man. Lefko's the ultimate point guard. Candace is brilliant. Like, she's a brilliant basketball mind. And Shaq is Shaq, bro. There's nobody like Shaq. You can't duplicate him. You don't know what he's gonna do. He may come out with a wig. He may come out with the Stephen A. Stiff drawn on line on his mind. He might do anything, bro. He break danced his intro the other day when we was on it. Like Shaq is a one-on-one, and I love him. I'm honored to work with him, to be honest with you, because Candace is the GOAT, like women's basketball player to me. Like seriously, there's only one GOAT to me, and she is that. And Shaq is Shaq. And Lefko's a rising star, like in this business. So for me, bro, it's dope. It's dope. It's a blessing. It really is, because I didn't think I'd be doing this at all. I didn't know what I was going to be doing after hooping. You know what I'm saying? But to do this, it's a blessing. So I'm honored every Tuesday night we on there.
So you never thought about going to broadcasting after hooping?
Bro, I took, in the summer they take class. I never took a class. Like, I honestly thought I was going to be a GM. I thought I was going to be in the front office. And I actually got 7 offers to be in the front office after I retired. But I once I figured out I had to move, I'm like, man, I'm locked in with my family and my son. I'm coaching him now. I'm cool. So TV is like, just come on, pop on. And a few appearances led to getting that seat, bro. And it's crazy how it works. And now I'm calling games.
Well,
I'm writing for NBA.com, sideline reporting, like hosting Crawford's Couch. So now I want to be as good in this space as I was in basketball.
Well, that's dope as hell, because I would have thought you took the classes and all that. Because the same mindset you had is like, I want to be like a GM and shit, because I just be saying, like, some people, like, just because you're nice and I'm nice don't mean it meshed together. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know the background of it.
How it goes.
People don't. But like you said, if you got to do all the moving, I don't think I'm with all that, especially with you coaching your son. And you got your family, you and your base where you comfortable at. Like, that's a lot to deal with.
That's a lot. And I think I got the perfect balance of being home and still being on TV. You know what I'm saying? And not where I have to give up my home base, because nothing's more important than that. So that's first and foremost. But now it goes to, if Seattle gets the team, now I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends how that works out.
Now you get a front office job there. We cool.
We cool. We straight. Exactly.
Jamal, appreciate you for coming on, man. Keep killing it and everything you're doing. We'll be watching. We'll be back after the break.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Welcome back to Point Game with John Wall and C.J. Toledano, presented by DraftKings. As a reminder, Bucket or Brick is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings Sportsbook is your home for all things NBA action, from player props to same-game parlays. Check out everything DraftKings Sportsbook has to offer to make your NBA experience even sweeter. The crown is yours. As usual, I'm going to make a statement here in Bucket or Brick, and if you say bucket, John, that means you agree. And if you say brick, that means you disagree, and then you explain why. So, you ready for this?
Yep.
All right. So this is playoff theme mostly. So the first one we're going to go with here, one of the most interesting playoff matchups coming up, and you mentioned it in the top of the show, Mavs versus the Clippers. So the current odds to win the series are even. So if you bet $110, you can win $100 if you pick the winner. So John, bucket or brick, the Clippers are going to win the series versus the Mavs.
For me, I say brick, just because I don't know the status of what Kawhi Leonard is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know the status of how well he's feeling and how many games he can play or how many games he might miss. So that's the biggest thing up in the air for me, because if he's healthy, I would take the Clippers for sure. You know what I mean? We know how special he is. But also it's tough to say, because the way Luka and Kyrie has figured out how to play with each other and the pieces they added have been spectacular. So in that series, I take the Mavs just because I don't know the status of what Kawhi Leonard is right now.
What do the Clippers look like in your mind on going on a run if Kawhi ends up getting to full strength and that Clippers team stays healthy?
I think they can do something special. They have all the pieces. You know what I mean? They have a great floor general in James to get them orchestrated and run their team. A hell of a coach in T. Lue that makes the right changes, adjustments throughout a game. But, the biggest thing that everybody always going to say, and it's been the Clippers say so or downfall the last couple of years is health.
Yeah.
I mean, like, can PG stay healthy? Can Kawhi stay healthy? Can James stay healthy? If they can do that, I feel like they can match up with anybody. They got the firepower to score. They have the ability of one of the best coaches in the league to me, and also they have the defensive tangibles and control they need to control. So, you know what I mean? We say the same thing every year about them. I mean, I just hopefully they can all stay healthy, and that's what you want for everybody. I want no injuries throughout the whole playoffs, and hopefully you can just get the great matchups that everybody want to see and get great basketball. I mean, injuries are the part of the game that we don't like to see, and it can change a team going to the finals, a team winning a championship. I mean, it's all about luck and it's all about health. And hopefully we can have a good playoff series throughout the whole playoffs of nobody having injuries and see these great teams battle it out. And I think you might see a lot of series go 6 or 7. To me, that's how I look at it from the standpoint of what the matchups we have right now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on, and we were talking about it earlier in the show too, and why it was so important, like sort of the seeding race at the end here. So the Warriors are the 10th seed, but they've been hot end of the season. But bucket or brick, the Warriors will make the playoffs. So they got to win 2. They got to win, yeah. So
yeah, I know. It's a good one. I say bucket.
Okay.
I know we know what Steph Curry can get into when it's lock-in mode, you know what I mean? So I feel like he'll get there. I felt Klay Thompson found his rhythm back since he's been back in the starting lineup. And Wiggins has been playing great for them lately. And I think that's the key for them. If Wiggins can play well for them, I get them going into the playoffs for sure.
Dope. Yeah, we were talking about it. Like, all these guys are sort of like aligning right now, getting their games back. They not only can make the playoffs, but they could make a run. Like, they're close to full strength. So
yeah, Kuminga's coming back. Like,
yeah.
They started a guy, Trace Jackson Davis, and put him at the center position and give him some height. Draymond at the 4 against certain matchups. So, I mean, any day, like, you never could count them out. Like, the year they won the championship against the Celtics, nobody thought they would make it that far. You know what I mean? But when you got a guy like Steph Curry, you have a person like Draymond that fits into their team, is basically they leader, their toughness, their energy guy, their IQ that he brings for their team, and then Klay finding his rhythm. They're a scary team, you know what I mean? Because, you know, Steph and Klay can get hot at any moment, and they attract so much attention offensively that the other guys can get going. If they making shots, they're a tough team to deal with.
How do you think they match up against the Thunder, who you have like an incredibly, you know, vet-filled star team versus the OKC Thunder? Who
I think they match up well, you know what I mean? Like, no matter who you match up with Shay's been Shay all year. Don't matter. He's been spectacular all year. So no matter who matches up with him, he's going to do his thing. It's just about stopping the other guys. I mean, not letting the other guys get going, but their coach have done a hell of a job. Shay makes the right plays. Guys are making shots. I think they're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. They're great defensively. Chet Holmgren has had a hell of a rookie season, you know what I mean? But I feel like the year that he didn't play, he got an opportunity to be around the game, understand the game a lot more, watch a lot of film, be around the guys. So he really came into it as it's been in his second year, not his first year, you know what I mean? So he has a little experience, blocking shots, being able to pick and pop. So he brings something to their team that a lot of teams don't have, but we have to wait and see.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next one here. It might be a pack first team All-NBA list this year. So bucket or brick, Jalen Brunson should be first team All-NBA this season.
Yeah, brick. Gotta go brick.
Who's making it over him?
I gotta go brick. He's had a hell of a year. Jalen Brunson's special. He's crafty. He's gifted. But you gotta go Shea and Luka. Like, come on, bro. Luka leading the league in scoring. He's been spectacular. Like, he was on a stretch to 30-point triple doubles, like the most 30-point triple doubles, I guess, like this year in a row. Could have kept it going. And then Shea's just been Shea. He has the most, 50 30-point games this year. So he damn near scored 30 30 so many times. So Jalen Brunson's second team. I mean, it's always hard because you have so many great guys and so many gifted guards in this league. But it's like, you know what I mean? He put his team second in the East for sure. But Shea's been doing it all year. They number one in the West. And then Luka has his team there. So I put Jalen second team for sure, though.
Okay, interesting. All right, last one. I don't know if you saw this last night in the Rockets game, but Boban was taking free throw shots, and they have like a promo where if a team on the opposing team miss two free throws, they get free chicken. So it looked like Boban, he was kind of, signaling to the crowd that, watch this, I'm going to miss the second one, and he missed it and won the free chicken. So I guess put yourself in that position. if you could give the opposing team a free prize or whatever, would you miss that, second shot if it didn't matter last game of the season?
Hell no. I want my points for sure, and then I want my free throw percentage to be good. But I also seen him do a jump ball with Xavier Moon, and Xavier Moon won the jump ball, so that was pretty interesting too.
Do you have any interesting stories with Boban, or come across him in the league? He's a really funny guy.
No, not really. I've seen him. I've watched him play. I've been around him, but I haven't been on a team with him or nothing like that. But everybody I know say he's a great guy. He's cool. I know he's in one of the John Wick movies, so when I seen that, I was surprised to see that. I said, what the hell, big Boban out here doing fighting John Wick? But I'm not missing it. I need my free throw percentage to be good, and I need my points.
Yeah, I think Boban was a perfect guy to do that. He's a man of the people, but
and he don't play as much, so he's probably you know what, it's cool. I ain't tripping.
Is it important to have a guy like that on the squad?
I think everybody has a guy like that on their team. You know what I mean? A great locker room guy, just a great guy to be around. Supports the team. Really don't care if you play or not. Just happy to be in the league. Just happy to be around the guys and bring that type of energy. I think every team has it, and you could just tell.
All right, John. As always, I appreciate you dropping your knowledge on the podcast. Any last notes to give our fans and listeners as we head in the playoffs here?
Lock in. I mean, we're gonna have some great podcast shows coming up, man. I can't wait to talk about playoff basketball. Like I say, this is like the NCAA tournament. Just you got to win 4 games instead of 1. You know what I mean? 1 game elimination. But it's exciting. You get to see guys lock in, compete against a team where everybody knows your plays, knows what you want to do. Which players can make the adjustment to help their team win? Which coaches can make the adjustments to help their team win? And it's like war, man. You going to war. You got to go battle it. Go get it.
Yeah. This stuff means something now. Okay. All right. This has been Point Game presented by DraftKings. Everyone, please rate, review, and subscribe. Share the clips that we've been posting out. Leave a 5-star review and drop a question for John, and we'll answer them in a future episode. This has been Point Game. Peace.